Hey everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong. It is evening time. Well, I think it's about 6 o'clock, and I am out here in the workshop playing a little bit in this trash journal. This is waterproof India ink. Now, I've heard of India ink when I was typing when I typed medical notes all through the years. And I can't remember what it was used for. Something in pathology, I think. So this is just a dropper. I thought I would just use that to put some squiggly lines on this yellow paint, which is completely dry now because it's been out here all night. So I was just reading your comments from the last videos, especially talking about the different box stores. And honestly, I understand. Those of you who said that you're disappointed and the aisles are always empty, or I shouldn't say always. There are stores here that I feel like are in horrible, horrible shape. I went to Joann's yesterday, and I just could not believe the state of the store. And when I got there, there was a sign on the door that said new temporary hours, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So as I was chatting with the girl at the fabric counter, she said it's because they're short-staffed. I did ask about it, and one reason I asked about it is that I had applied to do some part-time work there a few months back, just because I like retail, and at my age, I'm not looking to go back into anything medical. I do like working with people. I like to be busy. I like to have something that is somewhat of a challenge as far as just staying busy, keeping things clean, interacting with people, and retail is always that. But I just never heard back, and I thought it was unusual because I do have a lot of experience and I know they needed help. But the girl I spoke to said that the manager who interviewed me was extremely overwhelmed and just left. So my application never even went anywhere. I'm not sure I want to work there, and it's funny that one of you mentioned working at Dunkin' Donuts. I've often felt like I would like to work in a coffee shop. I don't know. I just want something just part-time enough to supplement what I'm doing right now. So I wonder if this will dry easily with the dryer. I'm really surprised at how brittle this turned out because it felt so supple when I first painted that fabric. Now, in my defense, if we even need to say that, the fabric was so threadbare. Really all you had to do was look at it and it started tearing. But I think this is interesting what ended up happening with this brittleness. I've never had Mod Podge end up that way that I know of. So hang on. Let's get just a little bit of this ink up where it fell out of the dropper, if we can. Ooh. It did soak that up. I like that black and yellow. Let me try drying it. I think what we're going to have to do is just put this to the side for a little bit because that's kind of thick, and I don't really want to mess it up. I like that a lot. And we definitely have other things that we can work on. I need to clean up this desk. Let's look through. Is that wet? Yep. Look through some of these Halloween journals. Now, you've already seen Dolly. I pulled her off the shelf just to include her in the stack. Poor Dolly. Dolly's on the loose, and she's probably going to be on the loose all year. I don't know if she will make an appearance next year. She could. She and Dr. Imelda, there's no telling what they're going to get up to this year. So, oops, let's put that up there. What a mess. Let's move Dolly to the side. And so I think that's Halloween. I think that was Halloween. And this, I remember this. I remember that shell. I think Jason was playing at the coast in that one. I think there's some special stuff in that one. And so this was one of the image zines or e-zines. That was September, October 2019. And that had some fun Halloween images. And you can see I printed that one front and back just to be able to put on the shelf and have just to save. So that's what I did the year I was doing the image zines. Now, I love this journal so much, so much, but I get angry every time I take this journal off the shelf. This is the journal that I had on display at the scrap exchange. They were having Scrap Fest or whatever they were calling it, Scraptober. It was a Halloween thing, and all the employees had put a lot of work into it. And where I worked, those of you who are local would have seen it. It was like an enclosed area with counters all around. That's where I did all of my processing. Hang on. That's where I did all of my processing of donations, and I would often take in journals to have on display and put them on the counter. And this one was out on the counter. It clearly had a sign that it was just display only. And this beautiful shadow box in the front, see the strings? Some customer came along and just ripped out what was in there. And unfortunately, and you know what? I think I might just speak my mind in this video. There's a lot of that in retail settings everywhere, but for some reason, at places like the scrap exchange, there's very little respect from some customers about things. Like, people rip stuff open, and it's very, very difficult to maintain a healthy attitude. Now, I was on the floor processing, so I probably saw more of that kind of thing than a lot of the processors did. Most of them were in the back, and I processed on the floor. I'm not angry. It just blew my mind that I stepped away just for moments because I was working. I was out there working all day, and when I came back, this vintage rosary piece had been shoplifted right out of my book, even though I had my name and that it was display only. It was just, no respect. So I really, really enjoyed this journal. This was all about, I had a phone call. I don't even know what I was talking about. Probably about the scrap exchange stuff. And then I think I said I love this journal, which I do very much. This is henbane. So this entire, it's an image of henbane. This entire journal was about witches and just studying the history of witches and how that they were put to death a lot of times, all the time. Okay, all the time. If somebody is dragged out of their house and put to death because neighboring people think they're witches, that's not ever right. If somebody's out killing other people and they've actually committed crimes, fair trial, give them a fair trial. But the witch hunt turned into something horrible. So this has got information about, I think it's pronounced Gillis, Duncan. It is heartrending the way some of these people were treated. And a lot of times, so the more I read about this, I was surprised at some of the reasons that women would be put to death. Sometimes they were widows, and more powerful men wanted their property. And all you had to do was accuse someone of being a witch, and a lot of times everybody would turn against them, and they would be dragged away and not only tortured, but then executed. So I'm not going to try to read this whole thing, but this was fun. This was really fun to learn about. Do all this reading, and I love the images. I love the staining. And then that's one of the little drawings I did. That ended up in the zine for October. Looks like a witch's shoe. And there's a little boot. I think I drew that one or painted it. So that is one of my Halloween journals. That was 2019. Look at this old picture of apothecary items from the 1700s. You can see the mortar and pestle. Amygdal. Is SYR for syrup? Amygdal. And I love this man. Alan Rickman. I had to save these cards and put them in my journal. I'm so sorry he's gone. He was a brilliant actor. And there's another part of that. There's a dark mercury jar. An owl. Different kinds of cards. There's a beautiful key on a ribbon. There's a lot in here. So I'm thinking this is one of the journals in years to come, if I'm still here, that I will enjoy poring over and pulling out all the information and reading it. And is this Sulamith Wolfing is the artist. I was trying to say her name correctly. I wasn't remembering it exactly right. I found several postcards of hers, and I think they all ended up in this journal. Just really pretty images. Ugh, scary. Palermo Catacombs. There's a little witch's hat that's paper clipped in here. And that's like a doll dress that's just laying in there. And it seems like this was more, okay, so these are just all sorts of tarot cards. And like I've said before, I don't do tarot cards. I've never had cards read for me or anything like that, but I love the artwork on them. I think they're interesting. And I know a lot of people say that they don't believe that tarot cards tell the future as much as it is just a tool to help people maybe vocalize and understand. It's a way for the reader to tease out of the person different things they might be facing or going through, and you know, potentials. So that's one of my Halloween journals. Let's look through this one real quick. I love this seashell. These were, you see the little label that says toxic. These were the pokeberry seeds. And there's that beautiful charm on the front. This is the journal that was all about Morgan Le Fay. And that's another one that I really enjoyed. And I want to say that in the midst of this, Jason had a gig at the coast, and I ended up picking up that shell, I think. $2021. Okay, so that's 2021. So we've got 2019, 2021. I need to label Dolly. Well, I think I did put the date in her on a few of the pages. It was also interesting reading about Morgan Le Fay. And this is another one that I think I will really enjoy going back and looking at, poring over, I should say, and reading every little detail. Let's see. That's one of those images that changes when you move it around. It goes from normal to creepy. I do like Edgar Allan Poe. I like his work. And then Sandra, I did not remember that I already had one of these napkins in here. So I think I've got this in 2 different books now, which is fine with me. It's beautiful. That's from Sandra. And there's a postcard of a witch's coven. These are, so this is, let me make sure. Yeah, I bought postcards on that trip of the Outer Banks. Jason played at the Outer Banks, and we spent a few days there. And I honestly and truly believe that my dad, who passed away in 2005, was with us on that trip. And I've probably shared the story before of just the things that happened. It was unbelievable. I think he was so close to me, and I had, for the first time since he died, visited his gravesite. And so it had been 16 years since he died. And I think he was with me. I really do. And I need to answer comments. I know a lot of you have left comments recently, and there was one about things that go on behind closed doors, and, you know, thinking that your dad, your parent, whoever, is a wonderful person on the outside, and then things go on inside the home that nobody knows about. Wow, that was all the way back in 2016. Or maybe the picture's just old. My dad had he had serious depression, and then he had serious post-traumatic stress disorder from serving 2 tours in Vietnam. And there was a lot that went on in my house growing up that people wouldn't know about. And I loved my dad, but once he left, I think I was in about 9th grade or 10th grade. My dad moved out west. My parents divorced. I didn't really see my dad that much. There's not a lot in this book. I remember this. Oh, look, of the transparency. At the transparency of the frog, I should say. And I think this year, I wonder if these are the Halloween images I bought from Mike Deacon. I like his channel. Oh yeah, that's me and Jason at a costume party. I could revisit this journal for sure and use it next year, because it really doesn't have much in it. It's got pictures. There's me and Michaela in 2007. That's a neat old card. I think that's a Tim Holtz card, I think. I don't know why I didn't do more in here. I don't really remember. I would have to look back. But I have a hard time believing that this journal... let's see. Maybe it does go back to 2016. An old photo of my garden. I called it the Wild Little Garden instead of the Little Wild Garden. There is a difference. Ooh, I see a picture. Wait, let me get a paper clip out. Is that one or there's 2 to put on this? Let's do that. Oh, look how scary. It's 2017, yep. The Hollywood Horror Show. So Jason and his brother took me and our niece and one of her friends to see this really haunted house. It was a lot of fun. It was scary. I think I screamed more than the kids did. There's not much in here, that's for sure. I'm wondering if I should revisit this journal and use it next year to go ahead and fill it up. I did not remember that journal being so empty. And then we have this one. Got the scissors on the front. I'm pretty sure this is a Halloween journal. Yep. There's a little drawing I did. I love this color. I love that lace. Some of the cemetery pictures that I had taken. So here's 2022. It looks like this one has some personal journaling in it. There may be journals that I haven't pulled out because I see that 19, 2021, 2022. There's just no telling. That's pretty lace right there. We have that. A beautiful old image. Oh, Carolyn, look, there's that one of those little things you sent that you make. Those are so adorable to me. There's a little drawing. It's just fun to look back at all the images. Oh, I love that little sticker. Yeah, there is some personal journaling in here. Looks like maybe this is one I carried for a personal journal. Yeah, so look, tonight I have to rehearse more for the wedding tomorrow. I'll be singing The Story by Brandi Carlile. Oh, look, Typee video. So Typee was still alive. I don't like clowns. That's creepy enough to be in any Halloween journal. That's just something I found at the scrap, I think. You know, I'm going to have a lot of blank space to write on, too, in years to come if I decide to keep writing. So that is that one. And honestly, there could be more. I'm looking up right now at the shelf above me, because I thought I had done one every year, but maybe I didn't. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we had the little image zine. So I think I'll stop and go inside. We're having chili again tonight. Jason said, "Can you stand it for one more night?" I said, "Are you kidding?" It is so good. So I think I'm going to finish up out here and go inside. Thank you so much for watching. These are going on the shelf, and I will do some art. At this time, I would like to thank my Patreon supporters. Without your help, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing, which is have a channel, create content, make journals, and do art full time. Thank you so much for supporting me like you do. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate always your feedback and suggestions. Okay, bye for now.